So, how can we be grateful in the midst of suffering? Because you might think that those two things cannot coexist. But in today's video, I'm going to share with you three specific things that I think might help you as strategies to find ways to be grateful, even while you're in struggle, pain, overwhelm, or plain old suffering. So, that's what we're talking about today. If you're brand new to me, my name is Susan McVeigh. I'm a business sales strategist and I help entrepreneurs just like you sell with more ease without the sleaze so that you can make more impact, income while living your life of freedom and flexibility. So, gratitude. I know that, especially today, depending on where you are in the world, it's Thanksgiving for a lot of my clients. And so I get the benefit of actually celebrating Thanksgiving not once, but twice, because I'm here in Canada. And so we celebrate earlier in October. And then most of my clients are based in the US, running an international global business. And so I get to actually come back around to this concept of Thanksgiving and gratitude again. And I will say that there was a point in time not too long ago when it was really challenging to be grateful for things that were going on in my life because it felt like my whole world had been turned upside down. Hello, maybe the last 3 years you have felt somewhat the same. Now, here's strategy number one. Gratitude is a choice. It is a choice. It's a state of mind. It's a state of being, but there's actions attached to it, right? So the sooner that you can flip the switch in saying, like, gratitude is not predicated, it's not connected directly to something that I must have in order to feel grateful. It is absolutely something that you can connect to what you have or what's going on around you. But for all of us, take back your own control and your choice and your power by realizing that gratitude and the state of being grateful, having thanks, is inside, right? So you can turn that on any time of day, anywhere you are. Just think about something that you are deeply thankful for, even if it's just being able to take a breath, even it's being able to see the sun, the moon, the clouds, the stars, your own face reflected in the mirror back to you. There's always something that you can give thanks for. Is it always going to be the thing that you want in your life? Maybe, maybe not. But I promise you that the more you focus on what you have, what you can be grateful for, what you can be thankful for, the things that are good in your life, whether you believe in the law of attraction or the law of reciprocity or, giving and reaping, all of these types of principles in the world demonstrate the fact that when we focus on good, more good happens, right? Now, of course, there's always those bumps and blips where things don't always work out as planned. But if it's by and large out of your control, then let it go. Gratitude is something that you can actively choose and you can control that. And guess what? You don't need any money to do it. Like, you don't need any tools to do it. It literally, at the snap of a button, really at the flip of a switch, you can choose to be grateful for literally anything in your life. And I would give you some homework right now that I want you to make a list, right? And at first, it may take a little while, but as you get into the practice, just like with anything else, it can feel like you're building a skill. And in the early stages, you may struggle. It may take longer. It may feel clunky. It might feel like you're grinding your gears. But the more that you do it, the easier it becomes. And this is where the idea or the circumstance of suffering, while it may or may not change exactly, and bear with me in a minute because I'll explain why, your experience of it will absolutely change because you have allowed yourself to unhook those emotions from what is going on around you because you're deciding to focus on something that does bring you joy, that does light you up, that gives you a smile on your face, that puts a spark in your step, whatever it is that's going to get you through the minute, the hour, the day, the week, the month, and so on. Okay. So, strategy number two, decide that your situation does not define you or what's possible. I think a lot of times, myself included, that we kind of wait to be grateful for something. It's like, well, I haven't arrived. I haven't gotten what I desire. I'm still striving, or I'm still trying to get to where I want to be. And so it can feel very much like you don't have enough, you don't have what you desire. And so we're focusing on the lack, right? And maybe what you're missing is really a small piece of that pie. It might be like out of this whole thing, if this was 100%, maybe it's just a little slice that right now you don't have access to. You have not yet seen manifested or showing up in your life. And yet we're so laser focused on that one, two, three things that are missing that we are striving for, that we're trying to accomplish, that it becomes our sole focus. And that's what creates the suffering, right? I'm not talking about physical, mental, emotional pain, things that have actually gone wrong in your life. I'm talking about sometimes we create these stories in these situations that actually make us feel bad. And it's because we've decided that our situation, the things that are going on around us, our circumstances, our external environment, what people have said about us, what they think about us, how we've been raised, or the family life that we have, like all of these things have defined what is us and what is possible for us in the future. So gratitude brings you right back to the present moment, right? Like it snaps you into what's going on right here, right now. What can I be grateful for and give thanks for right here, right now? Because all of that other stuff, we might not even have any ability to control, right? You might not be able to control whether or not you get a raise at work or how many clients that you have coming through the door. Now you probably have some actions that you could take. But when you're in the midst of suffering, and I know how it feels because you get a little bit of tunnel vision and it's hard to see the forest for the trees. This is why gratitude is so powerful, because when you focus on this and you use these strategies that I'm sharing, you can unhook yourself and take a moment to take a step back and really look at things for what they are, as opposed to being right in the muck, right in the messy middle, so to speak. Okay. So number 2 is decide that your situation does not define you or what's possible. That just because you can be thankful for what you have doesn't mean that you still can't desire to have more. You can do both. Okay. So I think sometimes we feel like, oh, if I'm thankful that I'm settling, not at all. In fact, I believe that the more thanks that you give for what you have, the more that you can attract and raise your vibrational frequency, your energy, just your positivity, right? We've all been around those people. We've all been around ourselves. When we're down in the dumps because we don't think that things are going well, AKA suffering, then we're in Pityville. We're negative Nellies. We complain more. We just can't seem to get ourselves out of the funk, right? And gratitude is such a simple and easy tool to use. And these strategies will help you to get over the hump if you're stuck, because sometimes it can be a lot more challenging to give thanks for simple things. And I literally mean just give thanks for the simple things. If you can't even think about being thankful for anything else than what's right here in front of you, being able to have Wi-Fi or some sort of internet connection, being able to have a device that connects to however you're watching, right? Being able to connect with people today, like anything and everything that you literally touch, you could say, I'm thankful for this Post-it note that I have notes here sitting on my laptop. I'm thankful for my laptop, right? Doesn't need to be complicated. Don't decide that you have to wait until you're grateful for something big to happen to give thanks. And then the third strategy is stop pushing against the pain. Now, what we resist persists, okay? And that means that the more that you're triggered about something, the more that you're suffering, the more painful the situation or the circumstance is, the harder we fight to not feel it. And gratitude is a great way for you to, again, unhook without having to fight, but also give you a way to just separate and detach from the heightened awareness or heightened emotion of what you might be feeling. Because the more that we try to change the situation, this is really about kind of redirecting or deflecting without necessarily trying to change the emotional situation. Does this make sense? Because your feelings are valid. Whatever emotions that you're going through are valid. The stories that you're telling yourself may or may not be true. That's causing that suffering to continue, because if you were to put your hand on a hot stove, it might feel hot. But if you continue to leave your hand on the stove, well, first, that's not very good wisdom, right? Like that's not using your noggin here. But the other part is then you're prolonging the pain, right? So I'm assuming that whatever has caused the pain is now gone. And I say this as somebody who suffered chronic illness, chronic pain. So my original point of contact for pain was gone. And yet my body kept rewinding and rewinding and rewinding and causing massive amounts of suffering to the point of breakdown. And so gratitude and having an attitude of gratitude, I fought for it because at the time when I had this breakdown, I didn't feel grateful for much in my life. In fact, I was, woe is me, the sky is falling. How could this happen? My life is a mess. And what's going to happen next? And I think that a lot of times we get, again, so laser focused on the point of contact that happened that caused the pain that we continue to revisit that over and over and over again. And that's what causes the suffering, because I didn't want to necessarily deal with the pain behind the suffering. That's a video for another day, right? But I kept pushing and trying to change it and not wanting to feel all the emotions because it was so overwhelming. So the minute that I actually just surrendered and let go, and I started to look for ways to be grateful because I wasn't so busy to push against the pain, that I could actually be grateful for the many things that were going right in my life that outweighed and outnumbered the amount of pain that I was feeling. The pain felt overwhelming, but only because I couldn't see all the good that was going on. And so being grateful, we'll go back to strategy number one. It is a choice, right? Number two, it's not dependent on your situation, your circumstance, or anything that's going on around you that would limit or stop you from seeing possibilities. And the last one is when you're in suffering, that pushing against the pain is actually going to prevent you from being able to truly be grateful and thankful for what you have. So surrender and let go so that you can actually step into moments of gratitude that little by little will start to snowball and allow you to stop suffering as much as maybe you are or have been. Okay. So with that, I hope this was helpful. We will be back tomorrow with another video. And if you like this video, if it was helpful, go ahead and hit the subscribe, like, comment, share, do all the stuff, because I want to be able to help way more people. I'm on a mission to help 1 million entrepreneurs live their life of freedom, create more income, create more impact, and be able to be a shining light and an example for how to live life fully expressed. SusanMcVeigh.com.